Fate. When those who are called to acts of great consequence look up at the night sky, they wonder about fate. What secrets does she weave among the stars? Some say they hear her voice on the wind, and she speaks not of promises, but possibilities. Some believe she can be charmed. They say her favorite song is the one yet to be written. Her favorite color, the shimmer of dawn. And her favorite sound, the clatter of dice. Hey Yeti fans, it's been a long 7 years, but I'm ready to do this. Let's go. We're here, looking for guidance. The artifact that will show us the way. We're looking for purpose. We're looking for inspiration. For sage advice. For wisdom. Lost to the ravages of time. It's going to be an epic fight. But we know our direction. I will not rest until I've found it. I will not let this will defeat me. I will find it. Yes. Come and get me. I cannot be stopped. There will be no surrender. Finally. Here it is. The wisdom I've been looking for. The scroll of truth. When you haven't made a Minecraft video for 7 years, do not, under any circumstances, start a Redstone project that's so stupidly huge that no sane person should ever attempt it. If you should do such a thing, wait, what are you doing? I'm an ancient gem, of irreplaceable knowledge passed down from the wise. I'm not listening to that. I am going to do something so stupidly massive, so misguided that no sane person would ever attempt it. I am going to make a Dungeons & Dragons virtual tabletop in Minecraft, and then I'm going to play a D&D campaign in Minecraft with a bunch of people. Yep, I'm nuts. This here snowy wasteland is my testing world where I'm going to be designing this thing. I'm going to be building it somewhere else, which I'll show you later. What is this thing that we're actually going to be building? Well, to answer that question, we need to look at this. The wall of what? And these here are some of the features that we're going to have. First off, a dice tower. Obviously in D&D you need to be able to roll dice, right? In D&D there are 6 different shaped dice from 4 to 20 sides. Second off, character sheets. We want everybody around the table to have a character sheet that has their stats on, their ability scores. So we need to know what to add to all of these dice rolls when we roll them. Next up, damage totals. When we roll damage, we want to know, well, how much fire damage did we do? And then other features, we want to be able to roll advantage and disadvantage. If you don't play D&D, advantage is when you roll 2 20-sided dice and you take the higher one. We want to be able to have weapons and multi-attacks. And resting, we want to be able to track the sort of things that reset on short and long rests, like bardic inspiration, monk's key points, sorcery points, that sort of thing. But I've missed out an important step. Why are we doing this? Well, to find out, You have to go and look at the wall of Y. This is a very important step when you're doing a new project, particularly a massively misguidedly huge one. And that's know why you are doing this thing. And here's why I'm doing it. I want to prove that Minecraft is the perfect sandbox for telling stories. You can build anything in this. You can step into another world. You can build another world and step into it. And what better to inspire you for telling stories in your mind than having a beautiful environment to walk around in while you're telling them. I want to be able to find other people who are, like me, massive Minecraft and D&D nerds. I know you're out there. I want to be able to tell stories that make people laugh and cry. I love telling stories with a little bit of emotion and a little bit of humor. And finally, deny that this is true. Giant redstone machines for playing games are just fun. I may have been a little bit inspired by Decked Out. If you don't know what that is, go and look up Tango Tech. I'm sure most of you do, though. Having covered the what and the why, I think I can let you in on the plan. And you know what? It'll just be between you, me, and these bunnies. Step 1. Design the redstone for the D&D tabletop. Easy, right? Step 2. Build it from scratch in survival on a brand new server. Step 3. Wait, no, that's the other plan. Step 3. Invite some friends to play a real D&D campaign in survival Minecraft. So we need a rough idea of what we're going to be building. So I thought I would put together a scale model. Here it is. Some of you will remember where that joke comes from. No, this is going to be... So imagine that this is like a 50 block tall redstone contraption. This is going to be the dice tower, which is going to be right in the middle of our playing space. So imagine big tower, spits out lots of items whenever you throw your D&D dice. So around the dice tower, we're going to have our character sheets. And these are also going to be little redstone contraptions. And this is going to be where you throw your dice. And I think we're going to have 7 of these. And I think that's because 7 is a reasonably high number of people to play D&D with at any one time. And it's because if I take each of the main compass points and also each of the diagonals, so I want you to imagine that I'm right where this delightful little bun is, behind my DM screen, narrating the story. All of my players are behind their screens, rolling dice. And whenever someone makes a roll, their roll gets rolled by the dice tower and returned to them at their station, so maybe only they can see what it is, or they can share it with the group. And I'm behind my screen, rolling for all the monsters. And of course we decorate it delightfully and turn up in our best D&D skins. So this episode is going to be focused on this, the dice tower. And what I want to find out this episode is, can we come up with a way to roll all of the 6 D&D dice, all the way from the D4 to the D20 in Minecraft? We will press a button and then we get a random result, all the way up to a 1 in 20. Let's get cracking. So I might as well start with the simplest dice, and that's these. So these are the D4, the D6, and D8. So 4, 6, 8-sided dice. Obviously, we can just do these with droppers. So the D4 here has 1 to 4 in it. The D6 has numbers 1 to 6. The D8 has 1 to 8. And let's imagine that this was hooked up to a detection system somewhere. So we throw in our D4. We roll a 4. However, it is not quite as simple as this. Because we want to be able to add these numbers up. Let's say we want to add up fire damage. Now, I think blaze powder would be a good way of representing fire damage for now. what we want to be able to do is this. We want to be able to say, oh, well, let's say we roll a 3, and then we roll a 2, and then we roll a 1. Now, we want to be able to see, okay, that's 6 damage. So, great. I mean, we can do our adding up with items. So, let's have a think about how we can modify these so that we get the 4 back when we roll a 4 from a d4, but we also get 4 items spit out. And here's the cunning plan for doing that. This dispenser here has 4 shulkers in it, named 1, 2, 3, and 4. They all have different numbers of wooden shovels. Could be any unstackable item, but these are the right number of items to get these signal strengths. So I press the button, I get one at random. See, that's a 4. Let's try it again. This one is a 1. You get the idea. So what I need to do here is to see, can I break this with a piston in the right timing to get just a simple pulse? Okay, let's try a simple cycle for getting the shulkers out of this dropper, into this dispenser, and being placed in front of the dispenser. Then when we break them with this piston, they should go into this dropper because of the water stream here and cycle back to where they started. So that is the number 4 shulker. So you see all 4 have turned off. Break it here. It should end up back where it came from. Good. And very simple. It's literally just 2 repeaters. 1 on 1 tick, 1 on 3 ticks. And you can see when I pulse it, you can see we get a different number of torches at random. So what I've done here is I've hooked this up to a simple signal strength decoder. And I'll show you why I've done that. So when I click this button here, you can see that we get now an individual redstone torch that pulses. So if I read the signal off with some target blocks over here, what will happen is a number of these dispensers will fire depending on the signal strength. So I will get 1 item out for a roll of 1, or I'll get 4 for a roll of 4. Then if I put dispensers over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, now I can put in the actual roll on the dice. So let's make some rolls here. So the green was a 4, and we should get 4 fire damage. Let's roll another one. Okay, yellow, that's a 3. 1, 2, 3 fire damage. Now if we pick these up with water streams and we give this back to the player, they see, oh, I rolled a 4 and a 3 for 7 fire damage. I think I may just have cracked this. First, let me show you a couple of changes that I made to the shulker randomizer down here. So I noticed a couple of little bugs. Well, actually quite big bugs, because one of them was that when the piston broke the shulker box, sometimes it would get stuck in the water stream and sometimes it would just end up on the ground, in which case it's gone forever. We definitely don't want that. So now it's much simpler. There's a 1 block air gap underneath the shulker and it just gets broken into that gap and ends up in that hopper. The second thing was, one of the shulker boxes would actually end up in this dispenser every time, in which case it isn't properly random because you can never roll the same number twice in a row. If you see what happens now, the shulker box always ends up back in this dropper. Now I'm going to clean up some stuff here, which might give you a bit of a clue as to what's going on. But I want to show you the rest of this machine. Now this is the Damaginator. This is a couple of layers of what's going to be a massive structure, because this is going to have all of the damage types that you can have in D&D. There's 13, I think, different damage types. So this is going to be a big tower that goes way up in the sky. It's one of the reasons I called it a dice tower. Now, what I want is for basically there to be no delay when the signal goes up to activate one of these, because like I said, it's going to be, these slices are 3 blocks, so it's going to be 39 blocks tall at least. So what I've done to send the signal here is I have these water columns here are actually active redstone. When I push the magma block out with these pistons, it's going to change the nature of each of these blocks. It's actually going to be a block update for every single one of the water blocks in this column. It's going to get seen by those observers. And those updates go through that hopper, and then if this block here is extended, it's going to activate the copper bulb. And I'll show you it here. So I have fire damage selected. You'll see the sum of the copper blocks. So that was a 2 we just rolled. Let me just check. Yep, it was a 2. So some of the copper bulbs light up. They get detected with the comparator, then they activate the dropper. And these droppers here are full of these items, and they can actually be refilled. So I spent some time here figuring out how to run a hopper line through all of this, so these never run out. Now let's choose cold damage. Let's clear this out again. So now let's say I want to roll 3 times here. I'm going to add them up, and that's 2 and 2 3s. So we should have 8 cold damage. There we go. So all I have to do is collect up the things that come out of these droppers, collect these by probably running a hopper minecart under here, and then I can collect all the information and send it back to the player. One other thing that I've realized I can do is I can sort of stack these slices. So I have my D4 here, but I could put the D6 here, and here's what it looks like when I do that. I've copied and pasted this 2 more times to give us 12 possible damage values in total, from 1 all the way up to 12. And I've copied and pasted D4, so we have a D6 and a D8. And I've calculated the new sets of shovels that we need for all of our different values. And so now, let's roll a bunch of D8s. Okay, we have 2 1s and an 8. Well, that should be 10. And there we go, 10 fire damage. And you can see that all that's happening here is we just have comparators between these slices. Okay, this is probably the last part where it's simple, because now we need to start thinking about the D10 and the D12, and as you may have noticed, those don't fit in a dropper. So I'm going to have to do some thinking about these. So here's how I'm thinking about the D10. Now we can't have a 10 slot randomizer because these dispensers only have 9 slots in each. So what if we were to roll 2 very strange looking dice at the same time and add them up? So in this first one, we have a 5-sided die. Doesn't exist in the real world, but it can exist here. So we're going to roll the numbers 1 through 5. In this one, we have a 2-sided die, and it's either going to come 0 or 5. So if we roll a 0, then we get the numbers 1 through 5. If we roll a 5, then we get 6 through 10, and we have an equal probability of getting both. So we need to add these up. So let's imagine here, we've rolled a 5 and a 5, so that gives us the maximum of 10. Now we don't have a block in Minecraft called an adder, but we do have the comparator which can subtract. So I've got a signal strength of 5, I've got a signal strength of 5 there. What we're going to do is we're going to have these go into the side of these comparators. We're going to start with a signal strength of 15, and we're going to put these on subtract mode. And what we should have here is a signal strength of 5. Now what we can do, this is always going to be 15 minus what we want, so we can just subtract it from 15 again. So let's have this go into the side of another comparator, and this one here, signal strength put it in subtract mode. a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. So this is our logic. And what we got to do is compactify it and turn it into one of these. And that turns out to be pretty straightforward. I've just tied together two of the modules that we have on the other side for the D10 and the D12. If I look in the dropper here, you can see I have 1 to 5 and 0 and 5. And then for the D12, I have 1 to 6 plus 0 or 6. So let's do some test rolls with these. There we go. See, that one was definitely above 5. That one was below. So let's go and have a look at these. We have 8 plus 7, that's 15, plus 1 is 16. And let's see whether we got the right number. Perfect. And let's test the D12. Let's have one of those. That was a low number. Another low one. And that's a high one. Okay. Let's see what numbers we got here. We got a 6, a 6, and a 12. Well, that's pretty straightforward. That should be 24. 24 fire damage. There we go. So, that leaves us with the tricky question of the D20. Because we've run out of signal strength. We can only have signal strength 15. So let's do some thinking about that. Now, if at this point you're thinking, why would I ever want to add up the damage from a D20 roll? You don't use D20s for damage. Well, you would be right, and well spotted. However, we also need in this game to be able to add things to our D20s when we do attack rolls, ability checks, or saving throws. And just to add some complexity for us, when we roll our D20, we don't always add things. Sometimes we might subtract things if we have negative ability scores. So this leaves us with a very interesting challenge. So when it comes to rolling the D20, we can do the same trick as before. We can roll a D5 effectively, and then roll with equal probability 0, 5, 10, or 15. That's a 0. And add them together. Oh. When you break an empty shulker box in creative, it just disappears. There we go. Pretend that never happened. So imagine here we've rolled a 3 and a 15. So we've got a total of 18. We need a way to represent that in a redstone signal. It's going to need to be at least 2 redstone lines because the maximum strength is 15. So I spent some time building this mad thing. And this was following up on my idea of having 2 separate lines to represent signal strengths of over 15. And this thing basically takes your 2-line input, two 2-line inputs, and adds them up. And this does work, but we're not going to use it because I thought of something better, which is this. This is the D20, and it's also a D10. And let me explain. So you see this has 3 droppers this time. It has a 5 or a 0. It has the 1 to 5, so this is the same as the D10. And it also has a 0 or a 10. And you can see that this actually is a 15 signal strength. And I'll show you why that is. So what's going on here is if we decide to roll an 11 or higher, our signal will go down this side here. You can see we have 11, 12, we have all of those numbers there. And if we send a signal strength down here, we're always sending a 15 signal strength down this side. And that's going to emit 10 damage items, but not any of these, because the signal strength is too high. The only thing it activates are these pistons. So we get 10 from this side, and then whatever the signal strength is on this side. Now, we have our 1 to 10 randomizer, our D10, is going into this comparator and this block. And it's actually being sent to both sides. But this comparator here is the one that decides whether it counts as an 11 to 20. and it has a 50-50 chance of being disabled by that repeater. So if I want to roll a d10, I still pulse this line here, but if I want to roll a d20, I pulse this line. And let's do some test rolls. You see that one. So the first one was below an 11, and the second one was above. So there we have a 14 and a 4. And now finally we need to do something special with the d12, because we have the first 10 of its numbers on this side, and the last 2 on this side. So what we do is we again send the signal to both sides, but when we send it to this side, we subtract 10 from it. And I just did 4 random rolls with the d12. I got 2 7s, and a 12. So that adds up to 1628. So let's just double check our totals. 28. Okay, so now what we have here is a full set of D&D dice. But before we can start our story, there's one more roll we need to